Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to my walkie-talkie. I have been in and out of North Carolina. I have been having a lot of fun for the past 10 days on the road, and I am ready to be home and back on my routine. But man, did I have a really good time, and I have met a lot of really cool people. Today, I want to talk with you guys about radical self-reliance. Radical self-reliance. I think that it's really cool these days that a lot of people who are thinking about radical self-reliance are homesteading or trying to farm, gardening, trying to grow their own food. And I think that's cool. I mean, I do. I think that's very cool. But what about other things? Like, a lot of these people that I know that are farming and growing stuff don't even know how to really cook yet, and they're still working on that. But what about understanding real health and understanding natural medicine, like under the laws of the universe? How about really knowing and understanding how to gain health and walk in tempo and in balance with nature, and how to become a part of the symbiotic dance. I think that right now the reason that we are able to witness all of this chaos and confusion is because there are too many folks out there who have no idea about how nature is never to be feared. It's always on our side. It is always trying to watch our back even when we're not. And the most important one, nature has grace. Nature has grace. The one thing I've learned from observing nature that's most powerful is that nature has grace and people do not. People don't. Everybody acts like they either need to be right or they got to be sorry. You could have grace too, You could just have grace. There could have been a misunderstanding. Could have been that nobody was wrong and nobody was right. It was just a misunderstanding. So, I want to talk about this radical self-reliance piece, What are ways in which we could be more radically self-reliant? And, how did we become so dependent? I think there's a lot of folks out there right now who are like, what are you talking about, Neethi? I'm like super responsible for myself. I do everything, I pay for my insurance. I have a job. I make money. I have a mortgage. I have a job. I earn. I am, taking care of things. I have a family. And maybe that means that you're self-reliant. Maybe it means that you're responsible. I think the training wants you to believe that that is you being responsible. But at the end of the day, there is something to be said with participating with all of the programs. All the programs. There's a health insurance program. There's a, get a job program. There's a institutional educational program. There's a lot of programs. Programs. Are they programming us? Maybe that's what's happening. Maybe we're being programmed to do what other people want. Maybe that's what's happening. How many of you know how to get places without a GPS or a phone map? How would you know where you're going? How would you get to where you were going? How many people know how to call somebody they want to call without the internet? or the number that's locked in your phone. I'm talking about radical self-reliance. When we were kids, we did not have we didn't have anything but a map if we wanted to figure out how to get to somewhere. Also, yeah, we didn't have maps like that. We couldn't tell you what our ETA was by a push of a button. If we wanted to know what our ETA was going to be, we had to drive it, we had to time it, we had to like think about these things. But I mean, like, these are small things. And, I think there are a lot of folks who are kind of afraid of the fact that they are not really capable of operating outside of some of these things. And these are just small things, right? But like, if you had to do all the things I just said, and you had to grow your own food, raise your own livestock, manage your own everything, and there was no grocery store to go. I mean, like, all of a sudden it becomes very overwhelming. And then what about power? What about light? What about energy? Think about it. We're reliant on everybody all the time. So then there's this radical self-reliance, which is like, okay, I'm going to live off grid. I don't need anybody or anything. I can do it in a lean-to. I would really like to see something that is somewhere in between that, like, can we have some groups of people that are working together, that are cooperatively co-creating some reliable, practical, joyful relationships that are going to allow 6 or 8 families to get together and really just depend on each other for 6 or 8 different things. Each family is responsible for something. And if everybody takes a little bit, isn't that amazing? Like, isn't that cool? I think that radical self-reliance is what I want folks to start thinking about and, wondering about, and trying to, can you try one thing every day to see what you can do? Like, maybe you just start remembering how to get where you're going and timing it so that you know how long it takes for you to get from A to B to C to D, and you know how to get there. You know how you're going to go there. You might know 4 ways to get there, but you know how much time it takes, and you might even know how much time it takes at different times of the day. That's a skill worth, revisiting. I think we've gotten a little bit too much help. Got a little bit too much help from some of our technology. And some folks that I know have never had to know any of those things on their own without a phone. So, why don't we just start with that? What about learning what it is that you need to eat to be able to gain optimal health instead of just that I'm going to homestead? Can you raise what it is that you need to eat, that you want to eat, or do you just want to go learn how to grow anything? I don't think that that's a good use of your time or your energy. Anyway, I just want to put that little bug out there for people to start thinking about something, that's radical self-reliant ideas and themes about these topics that, should be focused around basic stuff. And I think it's fascinating. No one is ever really putting that much emphasis on meals. Okay, you're growing something, you're raising something, you've learned how to manage the soil in a garden, but do you know how to craft that into a meal that you like, that you want to eat, that you would want to eat all the time? And how many things and what are the parts of what it is that you need to grow? I know I talk a lot about the food thing, but the food thing, how to get from here to there, how to get to your farms without being lost. The cool thing about going to most of the farms that I have to go to is there's not a lot of internet. There's just not internet everywhere. All the maps on the phones and stuff don't work to get you there all the time. So you kind of have to use a map. You kind of have to get some directions. You kind of have to talk to somebody. You kind of have to figure it out. And then you have to remember it. You have to kind of learn that pattern. Anyway, I just wanted to put these bugs in your ears and just say, let's think about this. Radical self-reliance. Radical self-reliance. I want to talk some more about it in the coming weeks. Today I focused a lot about geography and just finding your place from here to there and food. Next time I think I want to focus a little bit more heavily on medicine, some other things. All right. I hope you guys have a blessed day. I will see you next time on Walkie Talkie.